The chained boy suffers the whiplash, but when he sees the old man pass away right before his eyes, he loses patience. He raises his eyes to the heavens and calls out to the gods for assistance, and they respond. The strong man removes the guards while tearing off the shackles and the stone blocks, waving them about as if they weighed nothing. By doing this, he instills in the populace a sense of deity and the possibility of salvation. It was 20 years ago. Argos is conquered by Amphitryon, who kills its ruler and leaves behind numerous victims. Alcmene first tries to convince her husband to stop being unkind, but when that doesn't work, she sneaks to the temple at night. Alcmene kneels and offers Hera gifts while pleading with her to put an end to her terrible husband's conflicts. The goddess does not keep her waiting and, after appearing to the queen, she consents to lend her husband Zeus, by whom Alcmene will have a further son. Zeus appears in bed with Alcmene that same night to adore her and give her the child who will save the world, but the queen's delight is soured when her husband Amphitryon notices how happy Alcmene is and summons all the guards to hunt the traitor. A boy is eventually born. Despite demanding that the child be given the name Alcide and announcing that he would never be as great as his brother Iphicles, Amphitryon permits the boy to survive. Alcmene is hesitant to disagree with her husband, but she whispers to her son that he will always be known as Hercules because that is what his father's wife, Hera, left him. 20 years later, Hercules has developed into a powerful, courageous, and attractive man whose heart was captured by the lovely Hebe at first sight. The girl gave her beloved her amulet one day during a private stroll, as if signaling an impending separation. Iphicles interrupted their chat at the same time. Iphicles intimated to his brother that he would have nothing to do with the daughter of the Cretan king after telling him that Hebe's father was hunting for her. Heracles, however, did not argue with his brother and instead encouraged him to take a walk through the woods. When dusk descended, the brothers heard a terrifying sound in the distance, the terrifying roar of a Nemean lion. Heracles killed the predator with his own hands while Iphicles gave a frenzied farewell to life. His skin was taken to the palace by his older brother, who claimed that Alcide had cowardly left the battle. Nobody believes Iphicles' legend, so in order to establish his authority, he gets his father to declare that Hebe has been given to him and that they would soon get married. Hercules hurries after the girl as she flees the hall after hearing this. At this point, Amphitryon chastises his firstborn son for being a coward and a weakling. While an army is sent after them, Hebe and Heracles still intend to leave Amphitryon's kingdom. The girl falls into the river as the young men are forced to separate, but Heracles saves her and turns himself over to his brother. Amphitryon sentences Alcide to battle as retribution in the hopes that the sinful son will perish there, while Iphicles, who has once more been vanquished, desires his brother will stay in Egypt longer. Alcmene tries to coerce her son into running away, but he is ready to die for his love, so the queen has to reveal to him the truth about his real father and identity. Hercules encourages Hebe not to give up as he departs, promising to return for her in 3 moons. Sotiris, who is in charge of the unit, tells Hercules that the monarch has given them half as many troops as normal before they set out for Egypt. The legionnaires make camp in a cave, and after leaving the sentinels to wander around, Sotiris and Hercules come back to find the bodies of their slain colleagues. While the army is encircled on all sides, Sotiris tries to lead the troops away, but the commander is forced to order a combat formation. Predictably, Sotiris' detachment is defeated in the grueling struggle, and just a few soldiers survive. The general insists that Sotiris divulge which of the boys is the heir, but Sotiris responds that he is one of the boys whose carcasses are on the ground. The Egyptians discover Alcide, the king's son helmet, on the ground. The commander remains mute despite the fact that Alcide is still under the soldier's care and is alive. Alcide's passing is reported to the royal family. Alcmene and Hebe are saddened by this, while Amphitryon and Iphicles are ecstatic. In the meantime, Hercules and Sotiris are marked as slaves in order to sell them. Sotiris is perplexed as to why his friend decided to live rather than die, but Hercules assures him that they will soon celebrate at Hebe's wedding. When Alcmene continues to lament the loss of her son, the slaves board a ship and sail for uncharted waters. The oldest heir, Iphicles, who is about to wed the young woman who is sobbing for his brother, is reminded of his death. Hercules considers Hebe while incarcerated, who is still unaware that her beloved is alive. Slaves are purchased for shady bouts, and Hercules discovers that the only way out is to lose. Even still, the youngster doesn't lose hope. He begs Sotiris for his patience and assures him that they would soon return. Hercules wins his first battle by taking no prisoners and dazzles the spectators with his might. Alcmene schedules a date with her husband near the Hera statue, when she makes the decision to come clean about Hercules' conception. She threatens Amphitryon with death by brandishing a knife and blaming him for the death of the god's son. The angry king takes his weapon, kills his adulterous wife, and orders the senior centaur to inform everyone that the queen has committed suicide. Their host respects Hercules and Sotiris, and they frequently inform him that Greece is home to some of the most magnificent battles, on which he could make a fortune. The elderly man finally makes up his mind to listen, but not before putting Sicily's soldiers to the test against the most formidable foe. Four opponents enter the arena at once, each wielding their strongest weapons, and the battle turns out to be incredibly intense. Even though Sotiris is hurt, Hercules is able to save him and defeat his two toughest opponents by himself. The elderly slave owner backtracks on his pledge because he doesn't think the injured Sotiris would fare any better in the arena, but Hercules holds out until their master transports them to Greece. Even though it is obvious to him that the slave master would only benefit, he is willing to risk his life for it. The ship returns Heracles to Greece when the master gives up. When Sotiris finally catches up with the elder Chiron, he lets him know that Hercules will be engaged in combat today. Hercules faces out against 6 opponents at once in the ring. Nobody thinks the young man would succeed, and Sotiris is the only one who still stands by him by building an additional army. Hercules puts on an incredible display in the arena, completely decimating each of his opponents, and winning in a flash. In the hope that they can finally be together, he redrapes the amulet of Hebe around his neck. Chiron pays a visit to the gladiator and assures the young man that he will see Hebe. The older man informs Hercules that his mother is no longer alive and that Amphitryon and Iphicles are terrorizing the city and instilling dread in the populace. Sotiris assures his pal that they will exact justice on one another. Hercules now owns his army, and he will lead them all in the liberation of the nation. Hercules observes what Chiron was describing, 5 of the king's guards insulting the elderly man and robbing him of everything, as they enter the village. Hercules kills one warrior and sends the others to the king to inform him of the restoration of his son and the end of his evil. Amphitryon summons allies from Egypt to assist after discovering this. To ensure that no one else would dare to stand in his way, he intends to destroy both Zeus and his ally Hercules. Hera herself is living in an abandoned home that Sotiris discovers. The goddess forewarns the lad that while his great deeds will take him far from love, he must learn to live with them. Hera begs Heracles to recognize Zeus as his father and tap into his inner demigod power, but Heracles believes Zeus has abandoned him because he has never offered him a helping hand or offered protection when he has needed it. Iphicles visits Hebe in her bedroom at night and informs her that their marriage would be consummated regardless of what. The dictator is unconcerned that the girl does not desire this, and in exchange he can only promise her death. The girl is prepared to accept this, and by ascending the tower, she will put an end to her suffering. Her father succeeds in rescuing her. He advises his daughter to avoid making bad decisions and to have faith in good things. When Hebe gets at the waterfall, she is astonished to see her beloved Hercules emerge from the water and approach her. The girl asks her lover to flee so they can finally find happiness far away while they spend the night in the woods. But Hercules declines, promising her that as soon as he overthrows Amphitryon, they will be together in their own nation. The Egyptian general is summoned by the oppressive king, who accuses him of making a mistake. In response, the general makes a commitment to put an end to Hercules once and for all. When Sotiris eventually makes it back to his house to see his wife, he discovers both her dead body and a large group of Iphicles and Egyptian soldiers. The boy seeks retribution, but Iphicles kidnaps his son, forcing Sotiris to turn on his friend in order to save the boy's life. Hera's home is broken into by an army. Heracles is unable to stop his adversaries because Iphicles has Sotiris and Hebe as hostages. The young man is sent to the plaza to publicly display his frailty and dash the populace's hope for relief after his men are executed. Amphitryon refers to the young man as an impostor and claims that he has only brought the people suffering and retribution. Iphicles kills Chiron in front of Hercules and gets ready to kill Sotiris. The young boy then turns to his true father and raises his eyes to heaven, pleading with him to give him strength. Hercules easily frees himself by dislodging the guards by tearing off the stones with his chains. In order to avoid running into the troops again, Sotiris advises his friend to go as he falls to his knees next to Chiron. The villagers support the hero and are prepared to follow him and, if necessary, sacrifice their lives for his cause. In front of his people, Hercules speaks. He warns them that they are in for a tough fight, but that it will be the only way for them to reclaim what has been taken from them. Just as Iphicles and Hebe are about to get married, Hercules' army is drawing near the palace walls. But this time, the girl adamantly asserts that Hercules has fallen in love with someone else, and that she will still love him if he dies. The army moves toward the main castle's porch to summon Amphitryon while a battle breaks out at the palace gates, but most of the guards switch to Hercules' side. The king has set up a trap for his unborn son, and a group of Egyptian guards and a ring of fire encircle his army. Amphitryon accepts Heracles' fair one-on-one challenge, but the king knows he cannot prevail this time and will not alter his course. Hercules' head is covered in clouds, and the immense power of his father is transferred to his sword. Amphitryon flees to safety after he vanquishes his foes. It doesn't deter Hercules, though. He walks into his old house prepared to exact revenge on the dictator for his mother's passing and vows not to behave like a common mortal in battle. Hercules finds Amphitryon to be a formidable foe, and it is not easy for him, but eventually, he seizes control and gets ready to murder the tyrant. Iphicles walks into the room at this same moment, and places a knife in Hebe's neck. As the girl realizes that Hercules won't put her life in danger, she plunges the blade into her own chest. Hercules gains strength from the suffering. He vanquishes Amphitryon and leaves him with the knife that killed Alcmene. Hebe is finally embraced by Hercules, who assures her that they won't ever be apart again. After a couple months, the son of Hebe and Hercules is born. The contented father comes back to life and begins to rule Greece, giving thanks to his father each time.